That's all my background. It's not like I'm a professional. I don't, have any, nothing I'm saying is official and nothing is, final word. If you have any questions that you need answered and you need them officially answered, you need to speak with the unemployment representative from whatever state you're in. And that'll be the official answer. I'm just trying to help with my experience. Applying and getting benefits, it's a part of it's a process. You have to give yourself over to the process of filing. It's a bureaucracy. More and more, the state is treating people that apply for unemployment or any kind of assistance, welfare, entitlements as kind of like pariahs on the system. So I'm even seeing that in unemployment insurance and getting that, vibe oftentimes that, why don't I have a job? Why don't I have work? And, you have to be, even though you're getting treated this way, you still have to be nice to people and polite and thankful and grateful and not let that get you down, not let that get into your, feeling like you're a failure, because when you go through long periods of unemployment, over time, it can sink in, why am I not working? You start to take it personally, or you internalize it. And having somebody treat you like you're a pariah is not gonna help. So it takes a little more effort to kind of, not give in to that and still say thank you. And, who knows what their day is like, and maybe they're stressed out and not being treated well as well. Be nice. So I don't know if you know it, in regular times, unemployment insurance is a stopgap. So when people that are employed become unemployed, they can get a little bit of money to kind of help make ends meet. It comes out of your paycheck. If you go to any of your paychecks, you'll see a line called the SDI, at least in New York State. And it's usually like 60 cents or $1.20. And every week or every 2 weeks, your employer gives that money over to this system, this government system, and they collect all that money. And then a little bit goes out, to people that need it and people that file for claims. Everybody pays into it that is on a payroll company or paid by a payroll. And usually there's a surplus, and a lot of that money will then go back into the government. So it's a kind of self-insurance system that pays for itself. It doesn't come from any of the, it doesn't come from other tax money. It comes from a direct line payment, kind of like Social Security, similar idea. It's an insurance system. Comes out of your paycheck. One thing to keep in mind, and I'll kind of say this early, is that all claims are retroactive. So the week that you file is the week that you start being eligible, if you become eligible for benefits. And under these circumstances, most everybody is going to be eligible for benefits. So that week that you file, that's the week that you're going to start getting benefits. So even if it takes a month or however long this process takes, you will still get that money. And also the CARE Act, those benefits will also be retroactive. So this week in New York, I think people started seeing those benefits, and I believe it was maybe even March. I don't know exactly. I think nobody knows exactly what the CARE Act, when that exactly starts, but that will also be retroactive. So as you're kind of making plans, you can count on that money as opposed to thinking, is it going to be there? How am I going to pay rent? All of that is, backlogged. The other thing I have here is whenever they ask you to do something, do it. So if they send you a questionnaire in the mail, because they still mail stuff, make sure you answer that questionnaire and get that back to them. If you're required to go to a job fair or anything like that, which you won't right now because they're not going to make you do that, but should it come up later on, as things change, whatever they ask you to do, you have to do it. It's a bureaucracy. They keep fairly good records of stuff, and you just kind of have to go through the process. Let's see. So Does anyone have any questions on that portion of what I just said? Go
I've
for
got
it,
that
Liz.
myself. Concerning when you start filing, for example, I know I've read on the Cube that some people, for example, worked and then, hadn't worked for a couple of weeks, then they started filing. Are those previous weeks eligible for filing? And how does that relate to like the last actual date of real work?
So what I think what they have you do, and it's a little strange, is so for example, if you start filing on 1 week, but there's a 3-week span before you started filing, you actually have to, like, once you're approved, log in, and there's a place to send them a message, and you have to send a message asking for those 3 weeks, and that's what you do. And I don't know how long it takes or what that process will be, but especially now, I think they're going to be much more lenient. I think the systems in general are just way overwhelmed, and they're going to keep doing their best, but that's how you do it, is you just send them a message saying, this is my last date of work. That's a very important date, is to know exactly your last date of work. You never want to claim benefits and work at the same time, because you will lose your benefits. All work that's done on payroll, where you see that SDI tax that's withheld, that's the unemployment insurance tax. That work is tracked by the unemployment insurance agencies in all the states, and that's reported, and they know about that.
So I'm a 1099er. So I filed for unemployment after the 2008 crash, right? So so I'm kind of familiar with the process a bit. But when I was working full time back then in the garment industry. So now I'm strictly a 1099er.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, I want to know, have any 1099ers actually gone through the process yet? Because my question is how do they calculate that number? Because I'm like, basically, this is the blind leading the blind as far as like, am I getting $500 a week? Am I getting $1,000 a week? Am I, we got a budget. So, the other thing is that my freelance work that I do, a bulk of it is down in South Carolina. I travel down to South Carolina every 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. So am I filing against New Jersey, or am I filing against South Carolina?
Good question. Let me start with one.
Sorry.
No, that's good. Actually, I kind of was hoping people would just ask questions, because okay. I don't really have like some, speech prepared or something. It's just easier to respond. And it helps me dig into my memory too, and what I know and everything. I just put up a link to a Google Doc that I put together, and it has some links on it. Okay. And one of them is a CNN article, CNN, but it's about this new format, because independent contractors are eligible under the CARE Act, but nobody really knows how to do that yet.
Yeah, and that was actually the very specific question that I had posted on ArtCube a couple of weeks ago was, what has any 1099ers gone through this yet? Like, what is the process?
I think the answer,
what kind of questions are they asking,
Right. I think the answer is no, actually. I think that, unfortunately, the 1099ers are going to be the last people to get the benefits from the CARE Act and unemployment benefits. That being said, the minimum that you can receive right now normally is $104 in New York State. It's different for each state, and the maximum in New York State is $504. So including that $600 a week benefit that you will be eligible for from the CARE Act, you'll get between $704 and $1,104 a week.
Okay.
So at least that gives you some gauge of where your budget, the maximum it's going to be and the minimum it's going to be.
Okay.
I don't think they know how to do the 1099ers yet.
Yeah.
And have a look at that article. It might have a
Okay.
little info on it.
Okay.
And yeah, that's tricky. Sorry, I wish I had,
Yeah, because I'm on the road all the time. I could be in New York doing work. I could be in South Carolina doing work. I could, it's so it's like who's paying me?
Right. Well, and I do have a little bit of information to that. Only file in one state. I learned that the hard way. I work in Massachusetts and New York, and I pay into both systems. So logically, I'm like, yeah, why don't I claim for both systems? They don't like that.
No, they don't like that. I know that.
I'm still paying that back to the New York State.
Yeah, yeah.
I pay them $45 a month, and basically a loan.
Unbelievable.
With no interest. Hey, why not?
Yeah.
My claim is in Massachusetts, and Massachusetts has a much higher maximum that they'll pay out every week. So I think just a little bit of Googling to see which state is better is the one state you want to file in. New York State, I think, is the first state to get the CARE Act benefits. So that might be good, but then again, other states might have, every state is basically in the same condition in terms of just being overwhelmed. Overwhelmed.
Yeah, because I've also heard horror stories about people just even trying to get through to the unemployment, and this is like become the new full-time job for people. I mean, people are on the phone for hours trying to get through, days on end.
Yeah,
and they can't get through.
State does this weird thing where you file online, but then you have to call in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't get it either.
Yeah.
I think it's some kind of fraud prevention. They're so trying to they spend so much money trying to prevent fraud. It's like, why not just give that money to people?
Yeah.
And then you had another question as well. This second.
A lot. Sorry. My head's just spinning. I mean, I know New Jersey for like the regular for regular unemployment, if I was working for a company or whatever, that they're like the second highest in the country. I think Connecticut is the highest. So it would probably behoove me to file against New Jersey. But again, it's like, I don't know.
You need to file in a state that you've had unemployment benefits withheld. I don't think you can just file in any state.
I'm sorry, say that again.
So whatever state you've worked in, well, you said you don't ever have any payroll checks, correct?
All 1099.
I think there is no answer for this, but it seems to me the place of your residence would be the state that you would file in.
One would think, right?
You would think, and you said New Jersey, so
yeah.
I would just go for New Jersey, but I don't know how much of a difference it's going to make at this point which state you file in.
Yeah,
I think just getting that process going.
Yeah. Well, I'm waiting right now because the one thing that I did find out, and I don't know if you're going to touch upon this or not, is that I did find out from my accountant, and this goes for anybody else listening, is that if you made more money in 2019 versus 2018, and you have not gotten your taxes done yet, get your taxes done first and then file. This was actually a recommendation from my accountant, because I'm, even though I'm 1099, I made more money in 2019. So I'm waiting for him to finish up my taxes before I call unemployment. So that's kind of a, just a little tip for everybody,
That makes a lot of sense, actually, because I get my deposit comes directly into my account. Because I filed my taxes and I have direct deposit connected with my taxes. So that's the quickest way to get the money. And I think that's how they're going to figure out 1099 people's income.
That's what I heard. Yeah.
They kind of set themselves up a little bit for this.
It's a shit show.
Yeah. So when you go to file, you know, most of the information they're going to ask for, you probably have, like Social Security and that kind of stuff. But one thing that's really helpful is to have all your employers for the last 18 months.
Okay.
And not everybody is used to keeping their pay stubs. So if you don't have pay stubs, you kind of guesstimate, you know, you find the names of your employers, their addresses. If you're on payroll companies, there's only 3 or 4 in New York State that really handle all of it. They have different names, but there's only a few, and they all have their addresses on the pay stubs. A lot of them have their federal ID number on the pay stub, as well as sometimes even information about unemployment and a phone number and stuff like that. And it's not super important that it's perfect. It just, I think it helps them a little bit, but they have a record of all of this. So they cross-reference anything you give them anyway. I think it's more important to get all this stuff in and done and filed as quickly as possible rather than waiting and spending time, you know, making sure you get every phone number correct and every federal ID number correct. You want to get your application in as soon as possible. And there's a link there on that Google Doc to where you can start filing. I think it's pretty, you know, that'll walk you through the process pretty well. In New York State, there's a claimant handbook, and probably every state has one, and they're not very long. It's worth just taking a, you know, 2-hour, 1-hour peruse through some fun handbook reading. And then Allison, because you had your question on ArtCube, which was basically the work search requirements,
Right.
which are pretty obviously going to be kind of limited because we don't even know what we're searching for anymore. You know,
Right.
like our whole industry is shut down indefinitely, and you know, we need to plan on 6 months here. What I do, like for Massachusetts, they ask you to do they require 3 work searches a week. And it's stuff like looking online at job listings, contacting, you know, colleagues or contacting professional associates, you know, looking at, what are some of the other things? Sending an email, you know, to a colleague. And what I kind of responded to your question was, we already probably do much more work searching than we realize. Every time you reach out to a friend that you work with, that's a, you know, just to say hi, you know, just a social chat. That's a work chat. That's something you can say, look, I called this person. They work in my industry. If you ever needed to present information, look, I get my ArtCube newsletter every day and it has job listings. Like we do stuff all the time that's easily traceable. And should we ever, you know, be audited, although I've never, ever been audited, it'd be easy to produce that. You know, it wouldn't be so hard to figure out.
Yeah.
Under
I was sort of thinking that those sorts of activities would be sufficient at this moment in time, because it is just like, right, what else am I supposed to be doing? I can't go to a job fair.
Right.
There's no jobs that I could be applying for. They just don't exist. So
right. And usually in New York State, in production, I've fallen into this category that doesn't have to do work searches because we're kind of considered seasonal work.
Right.
So our work will always kind of come back, and we're not looking to like, you know, we lost our job at, I don't know, whatever government place, and we're looking to replace a government job or something. Like it's a kind of up and down industry. So usually, like I've been to a couple of these at the Labor Department. They make everybody filing come in and do like a seminar, I don't know, like a labor seminar, you know, start, and then you come in and everyone else is looking at each other like, why are we here? And I've had to do that a couple years back, maybe 8 or 10 years ago. And then for whatever reason, they never asked me to do that kind of stuff anymore. In New York State, they never required me to keep, track of job searches and stuff. But every state has their own requirements. And if they ask you to do it, it's a good idea to do it. In terms of, like I just said, though, we probably already do so much, job searching that we don't even know or remember, that we're doing it still. So. And then at the end of my little response that I wrote here, if they do ever ask you to do something like questionnaires, like keep an eye out in the mail, things like that, because they do mail stuff, that you make sure and get those back in, as quickly as possible, and don't be late.
Yeah, well, I got my benefit amount letter apparently sent on March 25th. I received it on April 8th. With no postmark, so that's cool. I had to send in all my documentation to request alternate quarter benefits. So I did that, but we'll see. I sent them a message saying like, hi, I just got this today. It's April 8th. Like, it's past my 10-day window to request the alternate quarter for benefits. And then I luckily I have a couple of jobs where I have a W-2, and so like my paperwork is not that problematic. It's just like finding everything and getting it all together. And then I don't have a fax machine, so I like sent it in the mail, and who knows how long that will take for them to get it, for them to apply that information. It seems really,
they'll get through it. I mean, all of that is pretty systematic, what you just described, and in my experience, they do get through that stuff, and generally pretty well. It might maybe take, a little longer these days with so many people filing, but it's pretty standard what you just got and saw, and the response time and everything. Here's a place to send faxes online called faxzero.com. It's free online faxes. So if you ever want to fax stuff into unemployment, it's pretty easy. I think you have to put it in PDF format or something, but
that's great. Thank you. That's helpful.
Because people still fax.
Yeah, people do. Not me, but and my partner worked in an office, so he would often fax things for me, but that's not happening right now. So yeah. Faxing capabilities.
It does seem kind of crazy that, I don't know exactly how to say it. The government has been trying to make it harder and harder for people to get benefits. And now that people really actually don't have income and need benefits, they chose the system that's the slowest, it's ever been, and the least quick way to get money to people, So yay, government. And that's the whole government. I'm putting that on everybody's shoulders. So was there any other questions anyone had, or?
Hey, I had a question. Sorry, this is Brian.
Hi, Brian.
Hey, how are you?
How are you doing?
Pretty good, considering. So I filed for unemployment a couple weeks ago, and like another person on this call said, I'm waiting on them to call me, because I called them a bunch of times, like every day, and then I got a phone call from them saying that they were going to call all applicants now and let them know if they need anything else from them. But when I applied, the last job that I worked was a 1099 employer, and I have W-2 pay stubs. So is the problem is what I'm wondering is, would it have been smarter for me to have applied with my W-2 forms as opposed to my 1099?
I probably would have, had you not done it already, I would have suggested just doing your W-2s and not mentioning your 1099 work. Because now they're going to be waiting. Now they don't know what they're doing. They don't have a plan in place. yet. I'm sure they're working on it, and they will eventually have a plan for 1099 people. And I think they're going to work pretty well to get that out. But now you're kind of on the books for claiming 1099 work as income. And I don't know if there's a way back from that. What did you send to them, if you don't mind me asking?
It was, they asked me for my last day of employment, and I gave them the federal employment ID for an employer that, you know, I work for sporadically. But for 2019, when I worked for them, they gave me a 1099. So since that was my last day that I worked before the quarantine happened, that's just what I put down.
Gotcha. So you put your last day of work for work that you did in a 1099 job.
Correct. Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's a tricky one. My guess, my instinct is that normally what they would do is they would contact that employer and ask them why they're not paying unemployment insurance, because they want more people to pay into the system. And a lot of people that are 1099 employers that are invoicing you, they're not paying that unemployment insurance, because technically the company pays it. But it's, of course, not coming out of your boss's paycheck or the owner's paycheck. It comes out of our paycheck.
Right.
That's right. And then they would say, yes, so-and-so worked for me. And then they would probably have to pay a little bit of money. It's not a lot. And then it kind of moves the process along. And in the meantime, usually they just they give you a benefit amount, and then they start paying the benefits. I can't think of a way to kind of backtrack at this point. So unfortunately, I think you're going to have to just kind of keep waiting and keep replying to their questions. If I would recommend, like, next time you get anything back from them, if you want to ask on ArtCube or ask me directly, or just go over it with somebody before you respond, just to kind of make sure, you know, you're doing it in the right way, or with, you know, so you can get your benefits as quick as possible. Your entitlements, you're entitled to these benefits.
Right.
These are benefits that have come out of your paycheck, and it's a system in place so that when people need it, they get a little bit of extra money.
Gotcha.
Wish I had better news.
No, I mean, I appreciate all your help.
Sure.
I'm pretty new to all this, so appreciate it.
Yeah. I don't know when you logged on, but just keep in mind that all of this will be retroactive. So the week that you filed is the week that and if you are eligible, which you most likely will be eligible, and definitely for your W-2 work, you will be eligible for these benefits. That week is the first week that you'll get benefits, and it's all retroactive. So I think that's helpful for people to know, so that as they're waiting for the unemployment system to work, that you're not just, you know, losing money, that all of that money eventually will come to you. And you can just make a little bit more of a plan, you know. And I don't know if you heard as well, and if you're in New York State, but the minimum that they're paying out now per week is $104. And the maximum is $504 a week. And that with the CARE Act, it's going to be an additional $600 a week. So the minimum you're going to make is $704 a week. And the maximum you're going to make or get is $1,104 a week.
Gotcha.
5 and 6, yeah, $1,104. And it just depends on how much money you made last year. It's a tricky equation that they have. It's broken down into quarters, and they pick either one or two of the highest paid quarters. They add them together, divide them by some number, 36 or something, or 26, and then that comes up with some number, and that's how much you get a week.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. That's my math.
To a point that someone else brought up earlier, I remember someone recommending that you file your taxes for 2019 before filing for unemployment. I was wondering, is that because of that same logic that you were just going over, where because you're making more money, that you would get more money back?
Correct. And I can think of two reasons. One, like you just said, that you're trying to maximize what benefits you could get and show as much income as possible. It doesn't always work out that way because of the way they do their math, but yes, you're trying to present as your maximum income. And then the other reason is that if you have direct deposit, that's the fastest way to get money from the federal government.
Right.
So once like those $1,200 checks are available, that'll come to you through most likely through your direct deposit, through your taxes. And if you have a refund coming to you, that'll be paid to you pretty quickly through your direct deposit. And if you owe money, I think everybody knows this, but the new tax date is July 15th. So we have until July 15th to pay any taxes back. And you can even, I'm sure, file for extensions on that as well if you owe money to the government.
Copy.
You can do this normally under normal circumstances, and certainly now they're going to be extending that.
Gotcha. One more question, I'm sorry. I was just curious if you would happen to know if, so as I mentioned earlier, I already filed for unemployment, and so if I file for my taxes, because I haven't filed for taxes for 2019 yet, so if I get that done, will my benefits be adjusted accordingly, or would they stay the same for the time being?
I don't at this point, because you are, you have, sounds like pretty substantial income through your W-2s, and that you have some smaller side jobs that are 1099. Is that true?
It's pretty split even.
Split even.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for example, you definitely want to use your 1099 work to maximize your income, you know, to show how much you made so that you get the most per week. So you're eligible the most per week. I don't know. Yeah, so getting your taxes filed for 2019, if you made more than in 2019 than you did in 2018, that's going to be the year you want to use to show how much money you made so you can get your maximum benefit.
Gotcha.
And filing your taxes, I think it's kind of a best guesstimate here at this group, will help you do that.
Awesome.
Who would have thought filing your taxes was beneficial?
Right.
Who knew? And actually, ultimately, it's probably good that you did, say, your last work date through your 1099 work, because you're going to be wanting to use those anyway to get your maximum benefit, your 1099 work. Your last day of work is really important, and keep that consistent and keep a record of that, put that in your calendar. And I don't think I really mentioned it, but once you get a valid claim, once all this goes through, and it seems like all of you are in different stages of the process, and it's just a process and you will get through it. You have to claim every week. You log into the Labor Department and you claim that week that you were able to work, available to work. You didn't turn down any jobs, and you weren't fired from any jobs. And basically that just says that you were, like what I just said, available and looking for work. Make sure you do that every week. I believe Sunday is the first day you can claim for the previous week. So just every Sunday, log in, claim your benefits for that week. Wow, it's been a while since I've done New York State claim. So there's a lack of work. I think that is important to remember, so that we're not working because of a lack of work, not because we got fired, not because of a furlough. There's just a lack of work. And in general, because we're essentially temporary workers, when we're not working, it's a lack of work. Go ahead, Allison.
Oh, I just wanted to say I am in the system, and I find that filing first thing in the morning is the best way to go all the way through the online system. I've tried filing my weekly claim later in the day, and it bumps me off repeatedly, sometimes like 3 or 4 or 5 times. Don't get disheartened by that. Like, just keep doing it until it goes through, and it will go through, and you'll get a confirmation that you successfully filed your claim for the week. But truly, like, getting up in the morning and doing it at 7:30 in the morning, it actually, I've run into that problem a lot less. So just, that's my New York State pro tip for trying to get the whole thing to actually go through online.
What day of the week is that?
I've been filing mine on like a Tuesday or a Wednesday, and it's worked thus far. But yeah, just to like get up first, because the way that it seems like it's being tracked is that Sunday is the end of a week, so a new week starts each Monday, and they have us keeping track of like have you keep track of the end date of each week.
Okay.
So yeah, so if last week it was the 12th, so then today I called in or I went online and filed for the previous week.
And I think they have a phone number you can call in and claim benefits. And I don't know if you've ever tried that.
I haven't.
I'd be curious if maybe the phone system is just more available because everybody's online.
Right.
Just an idea.
Hi,
Hey.
a quick question. Actually, I'm sorry, Lee, may I ask Brian something?
Of course.
Yeah, sure. Hey.
Yeah, sorry. Only because I know that you are specifically a 1099. You've gone through this process already. When you started initiating this process, did you go straight to online or did you go straight to a call?
Yeah, so I went straight to online. It took me a few days because I think the system was so overwhelmed with the applicants. It took a while to get through and have all the pages load correctly, but I was able to get through online, and then they asked me to finish over the phone.
So what, other than the questions of, your last employer, your last date of work, these are like, I don't know when you came in on the whole meeting, but I filed back in 2008 after the crash, but I was working full time back then. So now I'm freelancing. So I'm just curious as to if the questions are different for 1099ers as compared to a W-2.
No, I actually, so the questions that they asked me in that preliminary questionnaire they're pretty straightforward and simple. They don't really go into, actually, I don't think I ever mentioned that my income was 1099. All I did was provide the federal employment ID, and then they were able to find my employer in their system. And that's really the bulk of the information I provided them, other than like things like my address, my phone number, my bank account.
Yeah, because my Lee, you had mentioned going back 18 months, having 18 months worth of employers. I mean, mine run the gamut from New York, New Jersey, South Carolina, and Germany. So
good luck.
Shit show.
I mean, yeah, we're all kind of in the same freelance boat. I have, actually I have employers in Germany, although I get paid through an American company.
Same here.
Florida, Massachusetts, New York. I get work from California sometimes, and it can be a lot of work, but you just kind of have to do it. And we have a lot of free time, so you know, go back through your bank accounts, your records, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, getting the list is that's actually not an issue at all. And now that I'm also thinking through it, I do actually have a W-2 for like, you know, a couple of $100 literally, but you know,
Hey,
might as well put it in, right?
absolutely. All the income, anything you can come up with will help them. Um, I agree that it's going to end up probably being our taxes is how they figure this out, but
Yeah.
just the more information that they can have, and you know, maybe it's a good habit in the future too, just to kind of keep a list of employers and you know, addresses and names and stuff.
Sure.
I collect all my pay stubs every year. I've got
Oh yeah.
the last 3 years of pay stubs because I use them all the time for unemployment and taxes and just you know, checking how much money I made the year before and whatever. So.
Yeah. The one thing that I want to touch upon that you had asked about, because I know a lot of people are getting a little crazy about the whole, you know, keeping the list of, you know, who did you reach out to, what, you know, what job searches did you do? I actually, back in 2008, 2009, got audited for from the unemployment people. They kind of pulled me into the office to say like, hey, what's going on? Are you actually looking for work? Or are you not looking for work?
Mm-hmm.
And back then, they were pretty sympathetic. I mean, you know, I think at the time I was living in Queens, and I went to some unemployment office in like Jamaica, and, you know, they kind of sat you down with like 20 other people in the room that are in the same exact boat as you. And, you know, they're all looking for work too after the crash. And they were really pretty good. And to your point, you know, did you make a phone call of, you know, a friend that's in the industry? And it just, you know, people would come in, and I didn't actually do it, but it's a good thing to do, is just keep a notepad to just say like, you know, I called whoever, Joe Blow today, and we discussed like, hey, how's it going? You know, do you have any work? And just keeping a record of that. So, because I did see when I was there, people literally pulled out a sheet of paper and said, this is who I've contacted. This is who these are discussions that I've had as far as work with people in the industry. And it was pretty simple, a pretty simple process.
Mm-hmm.
So
And I imagine it's only 2 or 3 a week, whatever they tell you is the requirement. It's not a lot, you know.
No, it's not. It's not. So.
Sure. Frankly, it's probably a good habit anyway, just
Yes.
as you're networking and as a freelancer, just to
Sure.
keep a list, you know, keep yourself, how do you say that? Engaged with your own networking activities and stuff.
Yeah.
Easy to forget.
Yeah.
I just got an article from my husband. Regulators have been given, that was the, so regulators have been given banks the green light to use stimulus funds to pay off debts that individuals owe them. So if you have any debt, this is a little different topic, but if you have any debt and that $1,200 check that you're getting from the government, the banks are allowed to take that from you and use that towards your debt, because banks don't have enough money. Sorry, that's a little off topic, but I just got that in the email. It seemed like useful. That's it. Oops, I hit mute. So did anyone else have any other questions or anything else you could think of? Yeah. Well, I think I mean, that's kind of what I was hoping would happen, is just talk, you know, see different topics. And I've realized that when I saw the question the other day from Allison, I was like, oh, wait a minute, I've been looking for a way to kind of help out. And I actually know a lot about unemployment, which is, never thought that would be my, you know, benefit to the world. So please feel free to post questions on ArtCube. I don't know, Leah might be able to speak to that the best way to, get a question put up, and I'd be happy to answer it. And maybe other people in the community, ArtCubes around the country could answer things. But just knowing that, that those benefits will be there for you, and that there's other people going through the same process and trying to figure it out. So, we're all kind of isolated and away from other people. So it's easy to forget that, we're all in this together.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Lee.
Of course.
And I was thinking of maybe just creating a post myself on ArtCube Nation, collecting questions for you, and you can answer them on that post. And then Lee and I were thinking of doing something like this again next week. Hopefully you guys got all your all your questions answered today. But if not, you can join us next week, and then just encourage those who who would also benefit from this information to join us next week. And then we're also gonna be doing Zoom meetings like this weekly from now until who knows when, with just different topics, and just kind of bringing everyone together and giving everyone something to do while they're just sitting at home.
Yeah, my apartment needs some redecorating, so if you guys have any ideas,
We're actually
You like that green upholstery? I love it. It's amazing.
Next week's topic is about innovation, and like unique innovation. So you might get some ideas, Lee.
Thank you so much, Lee. This was really helpful. It's just helpful to have a person who I can talk to, like a person, just any kind of information that I can actually access instead of like trying to get into a system. And I recognize, like, I feel so lucky that my claim seems to be moving along in a like pretty expedient way. Although I did apply for direct deposit and it didn't go through, and I just have a debit card, and so I have to switch that over. But for people who are like in the process and aren't sure where your money is, you can there's a tab in New York State where you can actually like look at your payment history, and it'll tell you when payments cleared. So that's a way that you can find out if your payments have been going through. So
Yep. Yeah, when you log in, it's the same place you log in to claim every week, but there's a couple options there. And like, if you want money withheld for taxes, direct deposit, payment history, what your total potential payout is, how many weeks, all that kind of information. And so it's worth just clicking around and seeing what you can find out from that website. But that is usually after, I believe it's after you get a valid claim going. So cool. Thank you, everybody. Enjoy today.
Lee, thank you very much. We really appreciate this. And I'm supposed to get my taxes is supposed to be finished this week. So maybe if we get, involved in this next week, I'll have a little bit more information specifically for the 1099ers.
Yeah.
And any little bit of information I think is really, really helpful for everybody right now, because we're all kind of like just, fish out of water right now, flailing. So the one thing I did want to add about the 1099 is that, I've been, exclusively 1099, and yeah, the government does keep track of it. Yeah, I pay my taxes quarterly.
Right.
And they like that. When you don't pay your taxes quarterly, they're up your ass, and I mean, we all bend over for Uncle Sam.
We'll have to put that quote.
And not in a good way. And not in a good way.
Yes, absolutely. Anytime you're mailed a 1099, that means that the Fed is letting you know that they know that you know.
Yeah.
Right.
So, Lee, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you.
My
Thank you,
pleasure.
everybody.
Yeah, thank you.
Good luck with everything. Stay safe.
Thanks.
Bye.